Alright, it looks like we're good, and as soon as I say that, I need to turn down the audio a little bit on my end, but that's okay. That's easy enough to handle, even if the audio will sound weird. So, greetings everyone, I am Dr. J, and it's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to jump into this, but honestly, I'm looking forward to getting back into this. This has been... I just finished going through the rigmarole to get a video done within the last couple of days, so I've been just leaning back in my chair, well, basically all of today for the most part. I've made sure that a script was ready to go, but still, for the most part, it's been a very relaxed day as a result of that.
Sure.
So, now that we have gotten back to this, now that the video is done, and now that I've got an opportunity to actually get back into this, may as well continue having some fun, right? To that end, we left a giant spider in the basement. Let's go kill it. I think that'll be the first thing we take care of today, and then we'll see how much further we can get down below. And with any luck, today should be fun. Let's see. Trying to remember what we're doing for this, though. Alright, F5 is quick save? Yes, it is. Okay. Remember, it's showing up pretty quickly. There it is. I think we'll have you equip the... Yeah, I'll have you equip that. Oh wow, pretty low hit rate, given the circumstances. And then, I think we'll have you...
Great.
And of course, they lead with that. You're already having to pull out this. Oh, geez, already? Okay. Where is it? Where's the spell I normally use? Here it is. Alright, then go after them. Oh geez, you've taken hits. Let's see. That should help. Alright, Spider Queen. You've actually taken more damage with all this initial nonsense than I thought. And then you slap her away. And you knock down an ivory spider. Not that it seemed to matter. Ooh, the knockback worked too. Nice.
I've been poisoned.
Yeah, shut up. Oh geez, why did we suddenly all take a metric ton of damage? Is it because all of us have that poison status effect? Probably. This poison is hurting. Wow, 22% hit rate? That's garbage.
Lava root beyond seek!
Well, it seemed to do the job, so I will take it. Alright. A stiletto. And spider venom sack.
Sure.
Alright! The giant spider has been dealt with now that we've gotten a lot more experience. Means we can safely loot that. Weathered and covered with a dull patina. Patina? How do you pronounce that? This elaborately carved pillar appears far older than the surrounding structure. A pet? What? I can keep a spider as a pet? Although, to be fair, I've got the black cat as a pet as well. You seem a friendly sort, you can have it. Can we put it... Interesting, actually. Do I gain any benefits from having this here?
Hey there.
Oh hey, now he follows me. Interesting. I wonder if that pet will do anything for me. Oh, what's this? We can walk across it. Alright, so let me remind myself. Alright, so my new steward has informed me that long ago, a powerful Ingwithin constructed a labyrinthine dungeon underneath Cape Nua, now known as the Endless Paths of Ode Nua. Ode Nua was killed by the people of his time for his deeds, but the steward claims that a powerful force still dwells within the ruins. Whenever someone attempts to take possession of Cape Nua, this master below stirs awake and sends forth a flood of monsters to reclaim it. If I do not deal with this sinister presence, I may eventually share the same fate as the Adirians who had tried to claim this land long ago. So that is the idea here. Let's see what we can find. Huh. Why did it stick me out here? Level 1. I can quick travel to... Interesting. Well, let's journey down. Takes an hour, though? Isn't it just the map that I was in? Or is this something else? Yeah, why would it take an hour just to get here? And where exactly is the pathway to, I guess, the Endless Paths? If that just leads back up here. Unless... Looks like it would be an archway, but it's sealed in. And it looks like there would be something there. So...
I'll take a peek.
Is there something here that we can blow up or something? Well, I guess we can... Actually, it looks like we haven't fully explored over here yet, so let's check here first. I mean, it might be that we just keep going with the story content.
Here we are. To think we are so close. Beneath our very feet lie the Endless Paths, built by Ode Nua, the great Engwithin king. Well, up here, this is all Adiran, of course. But should we descend far enough, we will find some real history. To uncover that great king's tomb would be a dream. But it is one of his servants I am after. Gabranos, a powerful mage and a dedicated scholar. A keeper of lore, just as I mean to be. He was in possession of the Tanvi Oratoa, or whatever form of it preceded the one we know. I've seen it in ruins, alongside Gabranos' name. Scraps of the same symbols and verses we know in Rauatai. He must have held the words in high regard. Or perhaps he was even the author.
Let's start looking then.
If my sources are correct, Gabranos will have brought the text with him. It will probably be within a library, or a tomb perhaps. It tends to be one of the two.
As always.
Let's be off.
Aha, so this is the way down. Away we go, boys. This is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be all kinds of interesting. Already dealing with Zoribs?
Laying low.
What's this? This crooked effigy has been cobbled together with logs, scale, hides, and bones. A human skull adorns the top. I love how I can cut myself off mid-yell. That's amusing. Hey, he's attacking him. Hey, where is he? Wait, is that worm shooting damage? While shooting stuff at us? Alright, throw a fireball at it. I want to see how effective it is.
I'll teach you!
Barry! Also, something is absolutely shooting at him, so... Let's use our usual trick. Yeah, that worm seems like it's dangerous. You can keep going after him. Azura freeze. That's probably another source of our problems. Scratch him up. Whoa, that was a powerful strike. Wait, why is he held? Oh, it looks to be a hold anyway. Oh, right, you're held. You can't set. Alright, pretty standard stuff for Zorips. Although the worm is the interesting part. A wing. I can see what they mean by... Oh, actually, yeah, now that I see what Kano was talking about, yeah, the architecture is radically different. Indeed. Get him, boys! Only 1 damage with that? See how effective this is. Wow, that's an effective spell! Holy crap, I should be using that all the time! That's amazing! That's an amazing spell! A Zorip corpse? This Zorip is lying in a corner of the chamber. Its ribs show starkly beneath its scaly hide, and its breathing is labored, each whistling breath causing obvious discomfort. It doesn't seem to be reacting to your presence. You look the creature over. There is a strange discoloration on its skin in several places, but you cannot see anything that would inform you of what ails the Zorip. Let's leave it alone. Ooh, lockpicks. Nice. Alright. Another worm wing. Ah. Oh geez, that's a lot. Fireball, 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 fireball. Ooh, that looks like it did something. Oh geez, I'm already down? What the hell? That was fast. Only got 2 more casts. Chill fog. Let's see what this does. Blindness and freeze damage. I mean, if they're just gonna sit there, we'll oblige them. Oh dear, am I gonna regret not quick saving on this one? Yeah, maybe actually, looking at all this. Wow, this is bad. Oh geez, that's a lot of them. I don't think I'm gonna win this fight. Let's see how far I can get, though. I can probably kill that one. Jumping away.
Just like in a deer to go down fast.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm winning this. Oh right, you have the second wind and it didn't even last you all that long. Where's my quick save? I kind of wish that quick save was over here instead of over here. But c'est la vie. Okay, given that... I get the feeling I'll need to rest before taking on that horde. Now that we've seen that happen.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and walk through this again. Oh, we've already seen to it. Good. Okay, so now that we know that that's over there, let's first check around elsewhere. I really should have taken that blood splatter as a clue. And now I'm about to die. Second win. Rush up. Oh great, another Zordon champion. I get the feeling that I just stirred the hive again. Although, at this time we may have a chance to actually keep him relatively managed. I don't know if it'll actually work out that way, but there is a chance this time. Let's see if that helps at all. Multiple Zorib champions. Oh, that was a lot of damage.
Worse than rough.
Let me think, what else would be good? I've already done that. Let's see, remind me what this does? Actually. What would work? Alright, that's one champion down. Didn't seem to do much.
You missed, you big fella.
Alright, so 2 Zorib champions that need to be dealt with. Actually, can you throw a fireball in there now? Yes, you can! And it wasn't enough to kill. Great. Can you shove him over?
Not getting from me.
Man, he's just taking this like a trooper. You better crush these guys quickly. Wow, how are you still standing? Second win.
If the invasion.
Okay, that's another down. I should have left with that. Alright, I'll take out the High Priest. Preferably before I go down in flames. Alright, so healer's down.
Hi? Come on, not like this.
Oh, this is actually pretty close now that I look at this. This almost worked too. I definitely need to rest now that I see that there's trouble on both ends, but yeah, I can take these guys. I just need to actually be prepared for it for once.
And what does the flame reveal?
So I really should have taken this bloodstain as a warning to be mindful of traps.
This I haven't seen before.
The work of a moment. Show them how it's done!
Alright, if you're gonna come out, may as well just deal with you two. Without too much to worry about anyway.
I'll teach you a lesson.
There we go. Alright, so given the circumstances, I probably don't want to try dealing with them without first resting. So we've got big scary hordes of monsters in both directions.
I'll see what I can find.
Wonder if I can move this way without running into a horde.
Now this
Cinderella. Why am I a moron?
Gonna miss you, big.
Why am I a moron? Should have had everyone back off the moment I saw the trap. And honestly, I should just assume that everywhere's trapped at this point. I can fast mode if I want, but no going through entrances anymore if I believe there might be tarps waiting.
I wonder what this is. Hey there.
Just one Zorib? That's all? Disappointment. And a key. Unique medium armor. The heck did it go? Oh, probably got thrown in here. No, seriously, where the heck did it go? Well, here's the armor. Let's go ahead and pull it out. Actually, let's go ahead and pull it out here. Worn by Perforel, a paladin of the kind Wayfarers, this breastplate bears an elegant relief of two hands presenting a key. Perforel commissioned the armor to demonstrate his dedication to the idea of opening paths and doors for those who might otherwise find the passage too dangerous. While his devotion to the order dictated almost every facet of the man's life, Perforel was also a faithful adherent of the god Barath, and the hand and key served as a personal reminder that the final door he opened would bring him into the god's keeping. Introduction 10. Compare? Oh, okay, so slightly less recover speed, but greater defense against a lot of things. Okay, yeah, this is tank armor. You're taking it. Oh wait, this gets second chance? Honestly, that's probably more valuable for me anyway. Brigandine.
Hey there. Sure.
Light, flame, and sound.
Well, since we can't do too much today, may as well...
Light, flame,
May as well lead with an explosion! What better way to introduce ourselves than with murder? Oh geez, how are you already so low health? Okay, someone go deal with this guy.
Let's end this!
I'll teach you a lesson.
Gotta love Fireball. Gotta love Fireball.
Nice and quiet.
A way down. Ah, crap. And we just procced everything in this section. Yeah, we're not winning that. I'm just gonna say that right now. I know I'm not winning that.
Margren's fire casts light in dark places.
Alright, let's draw them over here. Now.
What?
Okay, no sense hiding anymore. Man, can't get that through, huh? Fireball! Again! Alright, and then our usual trick to stay alive and murder. In the meantime, you need to do something to these guys. You can probably kill that target. Oh geez, gibbed him too. Can you give that one? Actually, you know what? It's probably more important to get burning hands on this bunch. Oh yes. You knock one of them down? Oh geez, they really want to take him out, don't they? Where is he? Okay, cool. Honestly, a straight heal would probably be the best bet for you. Well, for him anyway. Go ahead and burn your level 3. And you weren't even in range. What the hell are you doing? Second win, now. There we freaking go. That is how it's supposed to be done.
How may I help?
And now we have all the loot in the universe.
Sure.
Nice and quiet.
See now what the flame has shown us?
Fine club. Ooh, camping supplies. Nice. These cracked eggshells are leathery but brittle. Most of them have been trampled into a fine dust stamp with tiny clawed footprints. So I guess these... the heck? Curled against the inside of this broken shell is a tiny white shape. Only when a tiny toothed maw opens to let out a frightened squeak is it clear that this is a small worm recently hatched. Hooray, we have another pet. Lovely. And we have a way down if we so desire.
I'll take a peek.
Another group.
How
I
may
don't
I
have as
help?
much AoE as we did. Although I could... If we have the element of surprise, we may be able to throw down some serious fire.
Yes?
I did quick save, right? Hope I did. Huh. Shorter range than I expected.
Yeah.
You don't have much choice but hanging back this time. Surprised we aren't taking more damage, honestly. Actually, if you're just gonna hang back, you may as well just zap them, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and use these AoE spells that we've been collecting for so long. Actually, you back off and get the arbalest out, since we've got plenty of frontline right now. See if you can get in range to shoot at them. Probably kill one of these. Do it!
Slow down. You got time to catch your breath.
Okay, that's annoying.
Putting us down! Following your lead.
Alright, one last blast with this.
Hey.
Beyond. Let's end this!
Get up!
Proactive! Your tail ends here! I have them!
Oh, that hit! That went well. Let's see, some oil and more copper.
Of course.
Fine leather armor. There's a lot of these that I need to eventually sift through. Oh yeah, didn't I get that crossbow for something? Yeah, much greater damage if I'm not mistaken. Also...
Let's see what lies this way.
Oh, this looks interesting. Stepping into this chamber, you are assailed by a cacophony of screeches, growls, and barks. Blood-spattered Zoribs dance in frenetic leaping motions. To one side, a Zorib plunges its hands into a bucket teeming with blood. The daub patterns onto others, eager to join the rites. At the far end of the room, one Zorib, wearing the long skull of a young drake and vibrant feathers, shakes a staff toward the gathered Zoribs, screeching and clicking. The High Priest suddenly raises the staff above his head, shrieking with renewed vigor. He swings the staff downward to point at the pit, and then at you. I'm not sure I like that suggestion. Yeah, I'm not winning that without a rest. Yeah, definitely not looking at this.
Sure.
Alright,
Hey.
so you in front as always.
Hey there.
Hey.
Also, I really need to figure out better weaponry for you guys, because the sheer lack of damage you guys are putting out. What kind of weapons are you proficient with? I don't see anything. Yeah, I mean, it is a staggering difference, so... Although it is a different kind of damage, so... Honestly, having you with... the problem is it's a quarterstaff, so that would explain why. If you're at range, though, probably be better off giving you this instead. Actually, would I be better off giving you the old wall if I really want to go all out with that? Actually, I've got these rings now. Who can I give them to? Iron ring of protection. Probably more important for you to have these. Actually, let's compare real quick. So, a difference in speed. No. Yeah, I think hold wall is more important. I don't know how useful you are with Arbalest, but I suppose we shall find out. Suppose we shall see.
Yes?
Alright. Let's see if we can take these guys on this time. I think... What was he about to say? I think we have just been invited to participate. Fireball! Oh, you better get this out. And you better cast this again. Did I get knocked prone? Yes, I did get knocked prone. I think we need another fireball! I just realized that didn't actually hit very many people. And now I'm paralyzed again. See if I can at least keep myself alive. I'm far too reliant on these spells. Wow, even through my second wind? That's annoying. That worm needs to die. Actually, the High Priest needs to die first.
Yes.
That's it!
Alright, now that the Zorrips are dead, we can focus on the rest. Paralyzed. Great. At least it seems very temporary, so at least I've got that going for me.
Lava will be on seek!
Crush it! Nice. Care to get up, Kana? Kana? Whatever you, however you pronounce it. Shove him!
I?
Aw, that seemed to do something. Lost spirits.
Alright then.
There is only death upon the endless paths. This ought to be interesting. This wide pit descends into a grim darkness. You hear the whistling howl of wind, and from time to time hot gusts of air tug at your clothing. The chasm appears to have been dug out with tools rather than being a natural formation. It seems to be very deep, but you cannot see the bottom to gauge the distance. Yeah, I'm not jumping down in there without a quick save. The blood spilled from this bucket seemed to have eaten into the stone. The rope tied to the bucket looks long enough to descend into the pit. This bucket is filled with blood and gives off an acrid stench. You recognize it as Monka's tears, a powerful poison. Curious. Let's try climbing. I don't think I'd get anything from trying to climb down. Crouching down, you grip the edge of the chasm and seek a foothold further down. Finding it, you begin to slowly and laboriously work your way down to on the side of the wall. The climb is long and arduous, and though you start at a good pace, your party begins to tire. Kana pauses to rest, only to become overcome by fatigue. With a startled cry, Kana falls, striking others free of the wall on the way down. The chasm rushes past you in a whirling blur of gray stone and darkness. As you fall, you see a faint circle of light far below, rising swiftly, and then the flat, gleaming surface of a pool so deep a red as to seem black. You strike the surface hard and plunge into the crimson waters, finding them deep and dark. Your senses are immediately assaulted. The copper tang of blood within your mouth, a red haze across your vision. The surface slides up out of reach. The thick, murky water hinders your swimming, threatening to pull you down into the unseen depths of this grim pit. But at last you crest the surface and pull yourself up and over the brim, to find yourself at the edge of a reeking, sludgy mixture of bloods and limbs. You can actually survive going down here? What the hell? The corpse draped over the edge of the pool is contorted in the throes of what must have been his final agony, rotting skeletal hands still clutched toward his throat. Limbs and organs bob in this mire of blood and gristle. The carnage stirs with the occasional gust of wind from the tunnel above. Level 5? Okay, yeah, I do not want to be here. I do not want to be here at all. I'm so glad I'm not doing a hardcore mode, or a mode where I can't quick save.
Sure.
So, sacrificial pit, huh? Knowing that, all that really remains to be see to is this chunk over here, and then we can descend into the next level. Although given the circumstances, I suspect that I may want to go for more camping supplies first.
Hey.
Alright, start hurting him. Let's see if we can actually do this without pressing. Well, Backlog just got himself killed. Actually, he's prone. I was right. Nice. Excellent. Throw the skeletons at the high priest, just to keep him busy. Throw this down to heal us.
I'm stuck over here.
I'm just trying not to die right now. You. Can you knock one of them down? And now Durance is in melee. Why did I think that was a good idea? I really should have looked at the range on that spell and realized it would end badly. Then again, he was mostly out of spells anyway, so it wasn't the biggest deal, but still, not ideal. Actually, wait, this only affects enemies, doesn't it?
More than raw!
Indeed. That one will affect everyone, though. Yeah, we're gonna need a rest to deal with that. Unfortunately, we are quickly reaching the limit of what I can do without camping supplies. Though, it would give me an excuse to double back to a town, progress time a little bit,
Sure.
And then... Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and head back to town. Resupply if we can. Although... Would it be worth progressing the story at all? Maybe? Stronghold. How long until it's ready? Well, what we purchased is ready. Oh wait, looks like we can do another thing. Stronghold. What can I do? Oh wait, we can rest here. Wait, Bright Hearth Hollow? Hang on. Where can I see progress on that? Oh, construction started. Probably not ready yet, then, knowing my luck.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Yeah, shut up. I know how CRPGs work. I guess this is the thing that will eventually be built in order to rest, presumably. Yeah, it'll take a while to fix up, but hey. At least once it's ready, we'll be able to just rest here, and that'll make life a little simpler as we go further into the depths. So, given Cave Noah. Yeah, let's head back to Gilded Vale.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
That way we can get more camping supplies. Theoretically, we can also get some more lockpicks there. Although, actually, would it be worth trying... Nah, I need to go... There's a lot of traveling I need to do. Remind me, where do I need to go for... Go to the Temple of Wotica? Where is that? Wait. 11 Key in the City of Defiance. So, Temple of Wotica, where's that at? In Defiance Bay? Okay, hang on a sec. Presumably in here then.
Hey there.
For now though, let's head to Gilded Vale, so that we can get some supplies.
Sure.
And of course, Bright Hollow Hearth is finished as soon as I leave. Still, it gives me an excuse to have time continue pressing on. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go ahead and work on that.
Sure.
Alright, stop by the blacksmith. See if we can get any more lockpicks. I won't worry about selling stuff yet. I'll save that for when I'm off stream. Because honestly, you don't need to see all that. And it would be really boring if I tried to show all of it.
Welcome.
So. Let's see, can I buy more lockpicks? There we go. That takes care of that. Now off we go. Then we just need to rest. And then we will head out into the wilderness, see what we find. So, I wonder how... Yeah, I definitely want to see how the story progresses. So, I'm thinking... Honestly, it might not be a bad thing to just do something out in the main area, then come back, do something out in the main area, then come back. Although, I think it might also be valuable while we're here to look through your spells. I feel like I could get more out of you. So we've got... So... Dealing little damage, huh? That seems to be doing a lot of damage, actually. What's this? Spirit Shield? I don't feel like that is helping us much. And then level 2. Oh yeah, Necrotic Lance was one I really liked. Yeah, we're gonna have you focus purely on offense, honestly. Seems to be the best way to go about it.
Hail and well met.
There we go. Alright. Having taken care of that, off we go. Ooh, what's this? The heck is going on with my character? Alright, the Wooden Plains. It'll take a while for this to cycle through, but that's okay. Alright, turn off fast mode while we explore this. As always, let's be thorough. Oh dear, more tombstones. Well, I guess I've got nothing better to do. Vergilios, Benefactor, Lord, Jongler, Catalyst. Eternally in service to the Order. Here lies an unfortunate lord who irresponsibly stored above his bed, poorly fastened, his powerful magic sword. Of course. The glow of fire shows the way through the night, and the wind will lead us home. He loved to run and run. Sometimes he didn't, but still he kept at it. Then he stopped, so here he is. In his dying breath, he muttered the number 0, 4, 5, and 1. What could it mean? No idea. He is death incarnate, endlessly feeding on the nightmares of tormented souls in the dark tunnels of eternity. In his wake, despair and destruction follow. His power ever grows. He will be reawakened. Greetings from Swafner's home, where I drink and sing, waiting for Hragngar's return. And my axe be as sharp in death as it was in life. Filled with light, consumed by shadows. Willie's not here. He was never here to begin with. A tall dwarf fond of beards and axes. Their fans save the day and join their play. Knights in shimmering armor, or fools in tights to look charmer. At least not in boob plate inappropriate, which would make Josh quite irate. Okay. I don't know what that's referring to. Who's Josh in this? We are no longer our souls. We are faithful no more. Longs were not drawn and send out. I will not splinter and break. Dwelling on earth or the sky. No master, no gods. Happiness free for everyone, and let no one be forgotten. Dreams do come true. By the grace of his wife, he pledged, and then pledged some more to be binary code on a pillar or some such for eternity. Hopefully not in torment. An avid gamer and dedicated backer to Pillars of Eternity. In memory of Not familiar with that. Here lies Firedorn, a bard, a poet. He was also a card, but most didn't know it. A poem he wrote, in jest was misread. They asked for blood, so now he's just dead. Wait, is that the one that was put in response to the controversy as the replacement? Oh, I did not miss you. I'm not gonna waste anything good on you, though.
Hey.
Show him how it's done!
There we go. Yeah, honestly, by the looks of it, it seems like the immediate choice for my character should just be, hey, immediately... Let's see. I may as well.
Sure.
Alright, nothing in this direction. And that is some strong thunder. Oh boy. Hopefully I'll be able to keep the stream going. At least I have, well, at least I have a power supply that has a small battery built into it, so even if I were to lose power right now, I'd be able to maintain what I have. Now what's up here? Looks like something valuable. Deer cap. Oh look, forest lurker.
I'll teach you a lesson!
Yeah, it seems like the obvious choice for my character is always to shapeshift immediately. Because holy crap, that damage is amazing!
Sure.
Alrighty. Anything up this way? Huh. Just a corpse. Light armor. What's this? Potion of Wizard's Double. 40 deflection upon hit or critic. Ooh, useful.
Yeah?
Okay, worth exploring then. Another forest lurker.
Show him how it's done!
Heh. No time to respond. But that is the nice thing of the endurance meter.
Sure.
I don't have to burn the good stuff until I absolutely need it. Alright, so that allows us to go to Stormwall Gorge, which will presumably allow us to eventually go to that Deerfoot village. Oh dear, that's... Looks like a storm just blew into my area. Oh boy. Hopefully that won't mean anything too serious. Ah well. Rain is relatively common here, so I'm not too worried. A forest troll. Oh geez, that's a lot. I think it's time to bring out the big stuff. Fireball! Yeah, fireball. Speed up your attacks too. Where'd you come from? Burn! Well, Pinlock went down, but that's okay. For we have murder! And our healer's about to go down. So our front line did amazing, and then we just lost everybody else. Oh, that shove was amazing for us. Thank you so much. I mean, to be fair, it did stun him out. This is why people don't like real-time with boss. Although, to be fair, I did set him to auto, so I guess it's my own fault at the end of the day. You knocked him over. Knocked him over. Oh, nice.
Leave it to me!
Get him, boys. Good job, boys.
Hey. Watch and learn.
Alrighty. Anybody else wanna die? St. Gieran's Horn. Surprised there aren't too many people along the path. Who are you? North to Cape Noor, west to Defiance Bay.
Hush, Itumak.
A dwarven woman dressed in skins and hides leans against the road marker. Her face is turned down, her eyes darkened by a thick stripe of face paint. She's sharpening a bone arrowhead with a scrimshaw-handled knife. Her attention, however, is focused on a bear figurine between her feet. A large white-furred fox standing at her heels looks up at your approach.
Easy, Itumak. It's not him.
Who are you waiting for?
Short version? I'm looking for a very, very old friend. I'm not sure what skin he's wearing now, but I'll know him when I see him.
Your friend is supposed to meet you here?
That's what I heard. Of course, the man who told me so was carrying a staff he claimed was made from dragon bone, but I know Whitewood when I see it. That should have been my first clue, but I had to try something.
Try something? What exactly are you talking about?
The long version. Here we go. I'm from an island to the far south called Nasitak. I came here looking for a village elder, a man we knew as Persok. I'm a hunter back home, so tracking someone wouldn't normally be a problem. But Persok's trail is cold, to say the least.
How long have you been looking for him? 5 years. Why can't you find him? There can't be that many of your people in the Deerwood. He died when I was still a young girl. Forgot to mention that part, did I? I'm looking for his latest reincarnation, which could be anyone. So you've been searching 5 years for a stranger you barely remember? Who could be anyone now?
That about sums it up.
Then it must be an important duty.
So I keep reminding myself. Still, it would be nice if important duties came with clearer instructions.
How does that statuette figure into it? She dusts the figurine on her trousers and raises it in her small, flat palm. It's carved in the shape of a bear, smooth and round. The polished stature is worn to a dull mat along its arched back and ovoid haunches. A soft glow emanates from within.
Cute, isn't it? It belonged to Persok. Before he returned to the wheel, he left a splinter of his soul in it. Something to help us find him later.
As she holds it out to you, you feel wisps of sensation. Not quite memories, but traces of someone.
When I left Nasitak, it was completely dark inside. But as I've gotten closer to Persok, it's glowed steadily brighter. Since I've reached the Deerwood, however, it's gotten hard to read. Some days it flickers and goes dark. Others it shines nice and bright. For a few hours. But most of the time, it looks just like this.
I could take a look at it.
I've heard that one before. Whole reason I'm standing here is because some so-called watcher from Forkvale told me he could take a look. For a few golden dukes, of course. I was on my way out of the Balmarsh when I heard talk of a traveling mystic who could supposedly see souls. I knew it was a long shot, but what did I have to lose? I went to see this fellow and gave him the Audra figurine. He made a big show of moaning and rolling his eyes, and after I'd given him 5 golden dukes to lift the shroud, he told me to seek the crossroads in the field between the Wolf's Lair and the Twining Trees.
What's the Wolf's Lair? Defiance Bay. Locals call the current Duke Wolf Grin. Sounds like he'd be fun to drink with. Is Twining Trees a real place? They mean at Twin Elms. I haven't been there yet, but I heard that here they have some especially memorable trees. Go on.
He thought he was being vague, but I know the area well enough to recognize that he meant this place, right between Defiance Bay and Twin Elms. I had a bad taste in my mouth, but my coin was spent and I'd already left an arrow in his knapsack as a friendly warning. Told him I'd come back and leave him with another if it turned out he was giving me the runaround. I've been here a week now. Guess he had the last laugh after all.
What if I'm Perzok? Not to disappoint you, but there's no chance. This thing would glow like a torch. May I see the figurine?
Why?
I'm a real watcher.
You expect me to believe that? After the story I just told you?
You've got nothing to lose by letting me try.
Fine. But if you try to run, just remember that my arrows are faster.
She hands you the figurine, her chapped knuckles grazing your hand. She watches you examine it, but wary but curious. You raise the Andra bear, turning it in the light. As your eyes catch a tiny glinting scratch, the scenery around you melts away. You're standing on a cliff, overlooking the water, seeing through eyes that aren't your own. You catch the musk of beasts amidst the fresh scent of vegetation, and your heart beats a little faster. You'll have to watch your step up here. You look down just long enough to see the sharp, pale cliffs drop into the water hundreds of feet below you. I see a vision of cliffs high over the water. Does that sound familiar? Your question is greeted with shrugs and silence.
What are you talking about? What just happened?
I told you, I'm a watcher. She blinks at you a few times, calculating. I know this sounds strange, but it's the truth.
You realize I've got no coin to give you, even if I did believe you.
Come with me. I've got other business in the area, and we can look for Perzok on the way.
And if this is your idea of a joke, you may be stuck with me for a while. Lead the way.
She tucks the figurine into her pouch, and her fox stands, shaking its pale coat.
Hey there.
All right, we have a ranger by the looks of it. So, Dwarven Ranger, what's your character sheet like? All right, what have you got for... All right, fine hide armor. Decent stuff. Now, what's your character sheet look like? Let's see, high might and perception, low dex, really? Huh, that's surprising. Although dex seems to be more... I don't know, dex doesn't seem to work the way I'm used to it working, so I guess that's fine. To be fair, with how much I'm spending in the front line, it'd probably be better if I had that constitution, but we won't go there. I really should have put more into perception, too. Either way, let's see what you've got. Stealth and survival. Useful. And you've got a faithful companion that presumably acts on your turn. Weapon folk. Weapon folk. Agile retreat. Oh, useful. Agile retreat, plus 12 defense from disengaging. Alright, so what level is she? Huh. They've matched her to ours. Useful.
Sure.
Now I'm curious to see how this turns out.
Dead on!
There we go. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, what's your bow like? A Massic hunting bow. How good does it compare to mine? Fine war bow. So yours is faster. Much greater accuracy, less damage. Honestly, fast would probably be more useful anyway. Sagani's hunting bow is made for a dual role. In her home village, the hunters pursue game both to kill and to subdue, often using blunt arrows to stun small quarry. These captured animals are sometimes raised or traded to other villages. As a result, Sagani's musket bow can fire arrows that do pierce or crush damage, but it has slightly reduced range and damage. Still, that explains the accuracy. Good lord, that is amazingly good accuracy. Anything good up here? Lions! Okay, that's a lot of lions. I may need to start AoEing the bastards. Will this hurt all of us? Yes, it will. Well, I guess you can target in such a way that you can hit... no telling what the hit rate is. Just focus on something that you know will work. Interesting choices for weaponry. So a fine dagger on your main hand and a fine hatchet on your offhand? So it looks like your focus is on accuracy over straight damage then. Also, you really need to die.
Praise does not believe.
So what's this do? Wounding shot. So he or she would...
Burn this away!
Let's see what this does. Interesting.
What?
I like the implications of this. Huh, what's this? Waves are roughly chiseled into the stone. They grasp at Andra's beloved moon like curling fingers. Hearth Harvest. What's that supposed to mean? Weapons. Oh wow. Your damage rating bypass. That's really fast. Huh. This hunting hatchet has a leather-wrapped wooden handle and a silvered blade covered in finely etched flames. When the blade is coated in the blood of prey or an opponent, the etchings glow a fiery gold, roaring to life. Even at rest, the hatchet smells faintly of smoke and charred flesh. Now I'm intrigued. I'm finding all sorts of cool stuff out here.
Sure.
All sorts of cool stuff indeed. Alright. Edelon Bridge, one direction. But we've got an area to finish going through first. Orland's Cradle. Alright, this takes us to the edge of the path. Seems to deviate into a ruined cabin of some kind. Actually, it might be a farmhouse or a ranch house.
Hey there.
A sparrow's nest is tucked between two angled slats. That's random. Still, some kind of abandoned cabin. Ah, more of these guys.
Faith does not believe.
That's not very helpful.
There we go. Well, if it was only that guy, not a problem.
Sure.
And that thunder's bad out there. Alright, and then another forest below us. I don't know if it'd be worth exploring that just yet. I get the feeling I'll end up exploring it eventually, but... And I gotta be thorough in my search of an area when I come to it, right? This is a CRPG. Huh, an abandoned caravan. A fine mace. Displaced image. Ooh. That's useful. Wine dregs swirl about the bottom of the clay jar. Makes you wonder who was here last. and why they abandoned their caravan.
Pray.
That's it!
Proactive.
Alright, I don't think these guys are much of a threat anymore. Remember when I was having trouble
Sure.
against these forest lurkers a few sessions ago? How times have changed. Alrighty, more ingredients. One of these days I'll have to figure out what all these ingredients are used for. For now, though, let's carry on to the main objective. Already explored, huh? Seems like we'll have some negotiation to see to. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seems to call out to you. You see a lavishly decorated room, walls hung with tapestries, ornate oil lamps creating a warm, relaxing atmosphere. There are several overstuffed couches covered with silk pillows and an elegant table in the middle of the floor. This woman is seated at the table, seated across from another woman. They are both well dressed, their style befitting the room they're in. The other woman's hair is blonde, in stark contrast to this woman's black, and is swept up on her head in a dramatic style. The woman speaks in an easy, free tone, obviously familiar with one another, while the women speak in an easy, free tone. Though they each seem to be comfortable in the other's company, a strange nervousness surrounds the blonde woman's actions. She occasionally betrays herself with a little giggle or stammer, hitching over an easy word as she speaks. Her demeanor swings from friendly to shy and back again with no warning. This woman leans back a little in her chair, stretching lightly. As she finishes her stretch, she gently lays her hand next to the other woman's hand, letting their fingers subtly intertwine. The second woman stops speaking mid-sentence, inhales sharply, and turns red. She does not, however, move her hand. This woman smiles and moves her hand further over the other, holding it. She then stands, moving around the table toward the blonde woman, whose face shows conflicting emotions of terror and lust. She giggles and pulls her hand out from under the other and brings it to her mouth, the red of her face deepening. The woman stops, looking down at her, eyes sparkling. She reaches out and pulls something from the blonde hair, letting it fall down around her shoulders. Then she leans over, brushing her lip lightly over the blonde woman's cheek, resting her mouth against her ear. As she whispers, her hands move lightly down the other woman's body to her waist. The blonde shudders and leans into the hand, eyes closing, cheeks pressed against the lip, still whispering at her ear. This woman's hand deftly removes a small bag from the other woman's belt and secrets it under her own cloak at the small of her back. Then she gently kisses the other woman's cheek and stands again, the smile never leaving her mouth. Well, that's not what I expected to see. Product Bridgeman. You see a ship being tossed about in a storm-ravaged sea. The swells rise and fall, carrying the ship with them as if it were a toy. This man stands on deck, at the helm of the ship, while water whips around him. The crew moves about frantically, trying to keep the chaos under control. He barks orders at them, pointing where to go and giving each one a task. The men, while still visibly distressed, seem to calm down when they are given their orders. He instructs the helmsman to resume his duties at the wheel, and rushes to the aid of a crewman who is struggling with a rope attached to one of the sails. The ship crests a wave, going almost vertical in one direction, and then immediately again in the other. Several of the crew are thrown from their feet, sliding across the deck as the ship hits rocks. Hits rocks, maybe? After the swell passes and the ship returns to a relatively normal orientation, the man quickly scans the deck, counting silently. No one has been lost this time, thankfully. He looks in the direction they're heading, sensing no reprieve from the storm in sight. His jaw squared and his upper lip stiffened, though he returns to the helm and takes the wheel again. Alrighty then. You see a flurry of matted white hair and an incandescent freeze fire staff before you see the man, cold and wild. He chews a wizened apple slowly, discharging spell after spell into the jumble of villagers screeching their way towards him. Cold flame vents from his nose and apple seeds shoot out to the side of his mouth as he saunters forward, ignoring arrows and curses alike. A deliberate twist of his staff and a bullet of force glides through the torso of one assailant and another. A roar blisters his throat and he launches himself into their midst, tearing into their essence with his staff. A pleading hand reaches toward him, and quickly falls, ignored. Silence takes hold as the tattered man gathered his prize, a basket of fresh pears. He hums as he eats. Okay. Welcome to Defiance Bay, but watch yourself in our city, understand?
Hail, traveler.
What can you tell me about Defiance Bay? Sorry, but I don't have time right now. But it sounds like that Dozens crackpot Rowan is stirring up trouble again. He'd be all too happy to give you a rundown of the city, liberally flavored with Dozens propaganda, of course. I'm looking for the Temple of Wodica. He scratches his beard, not sure why you'd want to go there. It's in First Fires if you really want to see it. You seem to be on edge. What's the problem? Thousands of them, truth be told. We've got refugees coming in from all parts, under some misguided notion that things are actually better here, that the legacy somehow passed over us, so they show up with no prospects and little money and end up just making a worse mess of things. No offense. And good luck to you. Interesting. Anything worth grabbing? Yeah, just some supplies. So, First Fires, huh? That's where we're going. Seems simple enough.
Defiance Bay. The city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by White One's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
Curiouser and curiouser. Hello, cat.
It used to be a lot less of a mess.
These animancers have brought divine wrath upon us all.
Well met, friend.
Rowan's arms are crossed, and his mouth is set in a grim frown as he watches the gathered protesters. He looks ready for a fight. He sizes you up. New in town, eh? You picked an interesting time to visit the Defiance Bay. All these refugees fleeing the frontier and finding the legacy's no better here. It's the Animasters. Magrants scorch them, and they nest us in the city like rats. You mark my words, though, us Dozens are gonna put a stop to it. What are you doing out here? He gestures at the crowd, which buzzes with angry chatter, trying to get folks to see reason. We're in the midst of a crisis, and instead of purging the nefarious forces from our city, the Duke is granting the Animancers dangerous liberties. What do you know about animancy? It's the study and manipulation of essence, which any sane person will tell you is the purview of the gods. The adherents, at least, have the sense to outlaw it, which is the only good thing you can say about them. It's not like magic chanting or the soul readings It's not like the magic chanting or the soul readings those ciphers do. It's been around since ancient Ingwithan times, which is why you'll see animancers tinkering with old Ingwithan artifacts. Kana raises a fist to cough discreetly into it. Half-truths, all of it. But he's an enthusiastic performer, I'll give him that. He shakes his head. Trouble is, the Animancers got no idea what half those artifacts actually do. Not that they'll admit it. Our empathetic friend is correct about one thing at least. Makes me wonder how much you know, Aloth. Tell me about the dozens. He taps his chest. We're an organization of interested citizens who want to free Defiance Bay from the dangerous influence of animancers and the tyranny of the aristocrats who support them. We also consider ourselves a militia of sorts, seeing as the Crucible Knights are little more than a flock of preening nobles in training these days. Just like a militia, the dozens, except for the training, and the discipline, and the code of honor. His eyes gleam, and we're always looking to expand. The more people see things our way, the better for the state of the country. If you have any interest in hearing more, stop by Edmet's stand sometime. The Expedition Hall. A lot of free thinkers in there. Can set straight all the nonsense the nobles and the animancers want you to believe. Might even be some paid work there for motivated types. I'd like to know more about Defiance Bay. This is the capital of the Free Palatinate of the Deerwood. We started out as the capital of an Adieran colony, but we booted the flaccid scepter from these lands 150 years ago. These days we're a major port receiving trade and visitors from all over the world. But we, some of us anyway, strive to hold on to the pioneering spirit that earned us our freedom a century and a half ago. The city is divided into 5 districts: Copper Lane, Burst Fires, Andra's Gift, Brackenbury, and Heritage Hills. He ticks each one off a callous finger. Tell me about Copper Lane. This here is Copper Lane. He taps a scuffed boot on the cobblestones. It's primarily a market district, but you've also got the Expedition Hall directly north of here, where you can join treks into the wilds. That's also where my fellow dozens martyrs and I tend to meet up with other concerned citizens. He points to a long domed building west and north of your position. And that's the Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Eerie place, you ask me. They've got the biggest library in the Deerwood. Kana laughs. Eerie indeed. It might be less so if more kids stepped inside. Perhaps we ought to visit Eleanor and see just what mysteries are revealed. Tell me about Brackenbury. A noise of disgust rattles in his throat. The nobility that didn't sail back to Radier stayed there. Most of the families there trace their lineage back to old imperial times. Other than that, a lot of has-been nobility, you've got Hadred House, where Lady Webb and her spies operate, and Brackenbury Strati, a sanitarium, the main cesspit of animacy in the city. He spits on the cobblestones. Tell me about First Fires. That's where the revolution started. That's the name. These days it's overrun with politicians and panderers, but we'll take it back someday. That's where you'll find the Ducal Palace, the Valen Embassy, and Crucible Keep. He shakes his head. The Crucible Knights were the original freedom fighters in Defiance Bay, but now they're just strutting peacocks with their eyes on fancy titles and their heads up their asses. There's an old temple of Wodica there too. We keep it real nice for her. He winks. Tell me about Andra's Gift. Got the name because it was a wetland that was drained back in the Imperial days. Now it's a seedy district populated by sailors, common folk, and more than a few thugs, but it's a fun place too, if you know where to look. He winks and elbows you. Look for a place called the Salty Mass when you're there. Other than that, it's mostly warehouses and abandoned homes. Tell me about Heritage Hills. He shivers. It used to be one of the most prestigious districts in the city. Heroes of the Revolution claims plots up there, next to an ancient Ingwithan tower in the city cemetery. Had the best views in Defiance Bay. Attracts richer types these days. A lot of animancy patrons. He glances at the crowd and lowers his voice. He wouldn't have heard, but something happened over there a couple months ago. The authorities sealed it off, and they're keeping their mouths shut. But mark my words, animancy's to blame. Alright, lore dump. Got it. So, let's go ahead and take stock. So, marketplace over there, Expedition Hall. Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Kana showed some interest in that. I guess we'll start by moving over this way. We'll want to explore everything eventually, but if this is anything like Baldur's Gate was, there's gonna be a lot. Ugh. A tavern.
Hello.
The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an Almawa. A handle protrudes from his back, and his face is set in a stoic frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink? There's a tiny pewter cup in front of him. He turns it in his one broad hand, but doesn't drink from it. This is a lively place. It was founded in the early days of Deerwood independence by a traveling scholar named Errol of Levi. He wanted a place where kids of all backgrounds could gather and hash out the issues facing their new country. He rests his elbow on the polished wood of the bar. It didn't take long for the place to fill up. Brackenbury aristocrats argued with dock workers from the gifts while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Deerwoods had never been known to turn down an argument. He takes a sip from the tiny cup. What happened next? I can imagine things got interesting. Soon, kids were coming from the farms and settlements, too. He waves at the door as if expecting a crowd to bustle in. This place got even more popular with the Vale and sailors than the Salty Mast, and that was the problem. No matter what people say about fair-mindedness and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. Errol found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong Thane, and when he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of that Thane. He shrugs, spreading his hands over the bar as he surveys the room. But Errol knew which way the wind was blowing. If you ask me, he skipped town. Hid out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. He cracks a wry grin. If only you could see it now. Tell me about yourself. Name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Barath. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. He shifts and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? How'd you go from religion to taverns? The journey isn't as long as you'd think. It started with Hollowborn. And with this. He takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the pewter cup. It was my sitter's son. He takes a drink. At the beginning of Waidwin's legacy. He was one of the first. Never expected there would be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. Yet every year, more patients were grieving for their Hollowborn children, and the gods were silent. That's tough. He leans forward, crossing his arms on the bar. Barath promises rebirth. Cycles. The only cycle I found was this one. He taps the bar. Have a drink, have another, and another until I couldn't remember how I got home. Wake up, come back. Finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they'd left days before and I just hadn't noticed. But they were gone. So I came here. I've cleaned up since then. Not that I've found my answers. He tosses the cup back. I've just stopped asking questions. You can buy a dog? May as well splurge a little. Had a feeling it'd be more of these. You see a fire burning slowly on the side of a winding road, unmanned. There seems to be no fuel, no wood or oil for it to consume, no hay or twigs. Despite this, it roars, crackles, wails in the wind. It takes you a moment, but you can begin to notice a figure in the flames. Its shaking hands cradle a young face, molten red tears marring skin the color of coal. The boy cowers, flames coating him as he holds his knees to his chest. In the distance, a man approaches, faceless. He extends a hand to the frightened child, who considers it warily before taking it. The flames die down, leaving his limbs and settling on his head like an obedient pet. All tears dried, they walk together, fire and death, hand in hand. That's supposed to be metaphorical. You see a wizard playing illusions in a town square, fingers plucking color and sound from the air and weaving scenes of beauty and fright. A crowd of onlookers gasps and cheers, enthralled with the display. All but one boy, standing off to the side, mouth agape. Green eyes are pale with wonder, vision after vision playing out before him, and something inside the boy clicks. Without warning, he bolts, disappearing into the crowd, pushing and shoving desperately. The mage finishes his show soon after, a giant silver dragon descending through the crowd and 1,000 stars exploding into nothingness. Collecting coins, he walks around the clapping crowd, bowing and nodding at each as he passes, until a small sack is dropped into his hands. The boy stands for a moment before him, small and still, and begs the wizard to apprentice him. He glances at the hefty bag, weighing it and the boy carefully. Finally he nods and flicks gently at the bag, which disappears. The boy grins. "How'd you do that?" he asks. but the illusionist merely winks. Neat. The Vulture, that's a fun name. You see a hand, curled and bruised, staked to the floor with a bent metal spike. Blood covers the floor and drips from the furnishings and walls. This man looks up from the body he is crouched over to survey the carnage he caused to the family in whose house he now skulks. 4 bodies total. A woman, 2 young men, and a girl lie blindfolded on the ground. Their legs are bound and both hands are attached to the floor with spikes. Oof. He has lifted the woman's blindfold and is currently doing something to her eyes. He pulls back a small blade and covers the eyes again, gently patting the blindfold. He stands and looks around, seemingly satisfied with his handiwork. Suddenly his breath quickens, hearing someone approach the door to the room. He bounces in place, excitement almost overwhelming him, and rushes to the back of the room, concealing himself in the shadows. From his vantage, he sees the bodies are perfectly arranged, each one facing the door, welcoming the man of the house back, arms outstretched as if in embrace. The door opens as he slowly pulls another spike from his belt, the tip of his tongue playing across his teeth in anticipation. Lovely! You see an impressive gathering of wild Orlans in ceremonial dress, shaded by a copse of ancient oaks. Copse? Underneath the largest oak stand 2 young Orlans, hands clasped, eyes clear as they promise to care for and love one another in the joining of their clans. An older Orlan steps toward them to speak, beard seeming to sprout from directly underneath his eyes, and declares their union complete. The jubilant Orlan clan carry the newly wedded couple away to their tent with snorts of laughter and crude jokes, leaving the older Orlan to sit alone beneath the age-old oak. He sighs, observing the scene in the distance. He whispers a quiet benediction, glad for their gladness, and melts into the tree without another word. He has seen enough happiness for one day. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her, and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin, and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. You look like you could use another drink. I'll get there. She takes a long drink from her glass, just trying to calm down, and trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you'll leave. At last, Kainra looks up at you, and lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbones. There's nothing I need to give to my fiancé, Pernisk, only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Tell me about these new friends. They come into our house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm not a fool, I know what it means. Pernisk makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they come to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out. Let them have their fun somewhere in the gift, but not under my roof. She scowls and then winces, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. Svev changes you, I guess. The Pernisk I knew wouldn't have squashed a spider. I never thought he'd... She trails off, feeling the swollen, discovered flesh. But Svev makes people calm and listless, and shouldn't make them violent. I don't really know. Seemed better than believing he's always been this way. Maybe I could go talk to him. Her hand rests on the table and she clenches it into a white-knuckled fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to give this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I got back there myself, I know what'll happen. I'll lose my temper and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. But I've heard you're trustworthy. If you give this back to him, he'll know we're done. I'll take this ring to Pernisk, then. She looks at you and nods. The house is just north of here. Please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Interesting. So I'm already getting caught up in lover squirrels. That's great. Ooh, more of these. You see a mud-soaked clearing, rain falling to the ground in large drops. This man is lying on his back in the muck, his hands holding open the maw of an enormous stelgare that stands over him, its front paws on his chest. The heavy rain falls over them, playing counterpoint to the grunts made by the opponents. Dead Stilgar litter the ground around them, and the man's body shows signs of a difficult battle. His clothing is torn, hanging in scraps in some places. Bites and scratch cover his arms and legs. A huge gash cuts across his forehead, blood and water mixing as they run down his face and drip into the mud. It takes all the man's efforts to keep the beast's jaw from clamping down. The man looks around wildly until his gaze finally lands on a large axe lying barely within arm's reach beneath his head, the rain slowly covering it with grime and muddy water. He looks at the Stilgar, and then back at his axe, grim determination on his face. His arms are shaking, and it seems he will not be able to hold the beast back for much longer. He takes a deep breath and wraps his right hand along the Stilgar's bottom jaw, then lets go with his left hand, freeing the top of its head. The Stilgar's mouth snaps shut on his right hand as his left shoots out from above his head and grabs the handle of the axe. The Stilgar grinds its teeth and pulls back, trying to free itself from his grip, blood dripping from its mouth onto his face. With a grunt that quickly becomes a bellow of pain, the man puts his right hand down, bringing the beast's head closer to him, swinging the axe around as he does. The blade of the weapon pierces the Stilgar's neck, and it yelps, its mouth popping open as it tries to step backward off of the man. Before his mangled hand can loose its grip, the man pulls and twists as hard as he can, trying to get the beast on the ground, using the Stilgar's resistance to pull himself into a sitting position. He brings the axe down on its neck again, and one final time as its head and his hand simultaneously come free. The head flies from his grip as he thrusts his hand behind his back to brace himself as he falls. As his hand hits the ground and his full weight lands on it, a second bellow of pain erupts from his mouth. Breathing heavily, he brings his now mangled hand up to assess the damage. The little finger is gone, lost somewhere in the mud. The two fingers next to it are twisted, broken, and torn, barely attached to his hand by small bits of flesh. He sighs, grabbing both dangling fingers with his left hand. He grits his teeth and pulls. Ugh. See all kinds in this game, huh? See all kinds. You see a half-consumed ale slosh its way across the distance to his mouth, spilling across the stains of food long past. Glazed eyes glance at the brawl across the room, gaining fervor as the fight extends through the room. Another ale, he murmurs to the bartender, downing his drink and turning towards the wall. He pulls a picture from his pocket, a painting of a young child, all brown hair and green eyes, and holds it above a candle. It does not burn. Ales later it begins to sing, the bar a mess of broken chairs and wounded pride, and they all listen for a moment before continuing their drinks, sveff, and conversation. His ache is felt through the room. His sad story reminds them of their sad stories. When he finishes singing, a silence hangs in the air, palpable among the smoke and the sweat and the yeasty smell of beer-infused exhalation. He is the first to break the silence, ordering a round of ale for the room. The general din of conversation sparks and resume, but the mirth is now tempered with far-off memories and thoughts. Fascinating. Scattered among such titles as Flora of the Living Lands, Unity and Disunity, A History of the Deadfire Archipelago, and treatises on the Cuthulclan people are half a dozen travel journals held with twine.
Well met, friend.
An Orlan man relaxes with his feet propped on the table. Patches of dark brown skin peek out from under a full mane of blue-green hair. He and the Orlan woman with him exchange laughs and comments with the trio at a nearby table, and he spins a dagger in his hand. His hazel eyes watch you. You look like you've seen a night or two in the wilds. Joining us all for a drink? Where are all of you? The name's Two-Tongue Wigsil. The lady next to me is Key. We've had our fun with the expeditions, but we were hoping to enjoy a little peace and quiet. For the next few weeks, anyway. A man at the next table nods at you. I'm Dreadshot Dayton. This is Hurdy and Ilfa. We were part of separate expedition teams where we both suffered losses and decided to band together. He ticks several items off his fingers. Beasts, barbarians, Beowalks. It's a dangerous time to be an adventurer, but a prosperous one, too. At the next table, Dayton raises his glass. And here's to many more prosperous journeys. Is there something you wanted?
Hey there. Sure.
Oh man, I'm gonna regret stepping in here. There's far too many of these. You see a man standing on a dock. Sailors, soldiers, and prostitutes swarm around him, but he's watching the ship disappearing over the horizon. He should be glad his men didn't take his life along with his ship, but failure is almost as bad a death for a alien. And the gods only know if he hadn't fared any better in his family's mercantile business. It's almost a relief to see that last herald of his failure stale into the distance, sparing him the need to go back to his father and admit defeat once again. Besides, with sharp wits and an eye for opportunity, there's always a chance for comeback. He pulls a flask from his hip and takes a long drink. There will be time for that later. He adjusts the flap of his eye patch and finds the tower of the brothel. He plots a new course for the evening, a grin on his face. How many of these are there? Is this part of the Kickstarter backing? You see a group of people standing on a clear patch of earth, surrounded by several motionless bodies. On the ground in the middle of the group is a small figure, curled up to protect itself from the kicking feet of the people standing around it. This woman is there, apart from the group, holding an enormous sword. She leans on it, using it almost like a crutch, hunched over and breathing heavily. She stares at the people and grunts, pulling herself upright and lifting the sword from the ground. She draws in a large breath, leans into a run, and quickly closes the distance between herself and the group. A blood-chilling howl suddenly explodes from her. The mob freezes, mid-kick, and stares at the terrifying bull of a woman now charging it. She jumps at the last second, bending slightly, turning herself into a projectile flying into the middle of the people assaulting the figure on the ground. Everyone topples as she flies into them. She hits the ground beyond them, rolling, leaping back up, and turns to face them. She plants both of her feet and lifts her sword, surveying the field. Suddenly she spins on her heel, swinging her sword with savage grace, cutting down the nearest of the assailants. Letting herself get pulled into the momentum of the swing, she brings her sword around, blade sideways, into the head of a would-be opponent. The bottom of the hilt shatters his temple, and he crumbles to the ground at her feet. She looks up, rage-filled eyes daring the remaining two men to approach. After a quick sideways glance at each other, they turn heel and run. One briefly looks back over his shoulder, ensuring she isn't following him. She slowly lets out the breath she had been holding, and walks over to help the figure still huddled on the ground. I'm gonna regret walking over to all these. What might this be? The pages of these old books are crisp and fragrant with the salt of a sea breeze.
I'll have it in no time. I'll see what I can do.
The work of a moment.
I don't feel good about doing that. As you're near... Okay, yep. 3 more then. Then I'll probably just have to call it for tonight, because this is a lot. You see a firm hand scribing notes from an ancient, surprisingly sturdy-looking tome. Script precise, pictures small but clear. The monk runs his fingers across the paper lightly, page after page, searching for something. The script is ancient, almost illegible, but he perseveres, scrawling stacks and sheaves of notes, transcribing the book into something more comprehensible. Suddenly he starts scribbling hastily, eyes wide, pen ablur across the newly ink-splattered page. With a start, he pushes out from the desk and closes the tome, sending waves of dust to coast about the room, and grins widely. He hurries to the exit, notes piled under his arm, and a new adventure on his mind. You see a man praying soundlessly on the ground, lips moving to some ancient and unknowable hymn. Lying in his hands, his sword sputters into blinding white light, banishing the darkness around him instantly to lurk in corners and shelves. He opens his eyes slowly, continuing his silent prayer as he adjusts to the new light, his face tight with concentration. He stands and begins to move deliberately toward an enormous iron door, strange symbols inscribed upon its rusted surface. His prayer gets louder, gaining substance as he gets closer. Blue eyes burn with fervor as the glowing tip of the sword touches the center of the door and slides through. White light spreads across its surface, symbols flaring into life as the paladin chants. A gentle tone sounds, ringing through the ancient structure, and the door begins to open. The symbols have disappeared, along with the rust. and the paladin steps through into places unknown, bearing a light he is only now beginning to understand. You see a grin slide across the face of a man and onto the face of a woman, younger still than he. She moves closer in the tallow light, sure and slow, tasting the anticipation on his tongue, the desire on hers. The candle gutters, sending yellow-brown light sneaking across his multifaceted eyes. She sits back, now all too aware of his luminescent horns and dust-stamped blue skin. His otherness leaves her breathless, but from fascination or horror you cannot tell. He reaches across a hand, trailing the line of her jaw. Sibilant? What's that word mean? I've characterized Meyer producing a hissing sound like that of S or sh. Interesting. I learned something new today. Sibilant whispers snaking through the air, tempting cajoling. Something in her breaks, and his grin slides back as he extends his tongue to lick the curve of her throat, causing a hair's breadth from her flesh. The thing we spoke of. Your husband. I shouldn't. He'd be ruined. A faint protest. The man wags his forefinger at her, tisking playfully, tracing a line with the finger down the length of her torso, causing her to writhe. He stops it just short. She gasps. No fair! That's cheating! She pouts, childlike. Not if we make the rules. The man winks, and he resumes his stroke. Well then, that's a fun one to end on. So, is there anything else I want to see to before we call it? Let me just alt-tab real quick. Alright, where's the phone? How long have we been going? A couple hours. Okay. Back to pillars. Huh. It paused when I alt-tabbed. Nice. I had a feeling the tombstones were related to Kickstarter. So, I guess the marketplace would make most sense to check out next. Actually, you know what? The Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Let's go satisfy Kana's curiosity first. It looks important. Scrivener. Oh, okay. Just when I think I'm done. You see a dark room, its contents in disarray. The blinds are pulled against the light, and the sounds of shouting and running can be heard outside. This man moves through a house, throwing items into a bag. He wraps up some food, collects some clothes, and searches through a chest for various odds and ends that resemble magical components. He stops at a bookshelf and quickly scans the spines, running his fingers along them to help keep his place. He sighs, sliding his fingers across the spines again, mumbling to himself. Finally, he chooses a couple of titles and takes them from the shelf, adding them to the assortment of items he has already gathered. A small group of squirrels and birds watch him as he passes through the rooms, moving almost as a single entity. They are trying to stay near him, but also seem to know to stay out of his way. He is obviously in a hurry, but he maintains a deliberate demeanor about everything he does. The outer door bursts open with an explosion sound, causing the animals to scatter, terrified. The man turns, bringing a hand up, holding a book in his other, whispering something that can barely be heard. Ice crystals begin to form at the tip of his fingers, crackling against the heat of the room. He sees the man standing in the doorway and immediately dropping his hands, the ice vanishing as quickly as it appeared. The man in the doorway gestures, telling him to hurry, and points toward the horizon somewhere outside. The man in the house dismisses him with a wave, saying he is almost done here and will be coming soon. He scans the dwelling one more time, searching for something he might have missed. Satisfied, he leaves, not even bothering to close the door. Outside, he can see people all prepared as he is, traveling away from the town, away from the rising plumes of smoke on the horizon. That's a lovely thing. Alright, let's go satisfy Kana's curiosity.
I I'd wager there are more than a few banned books in here.
Good day to you.
The woman barely glances up from the tomes on the table as you approach. You're welcome to browse the stacks, but mind that you keep your voice down. This is still a temple after all, and Grimda doesn't tolerate disorder. Who's Grimda? Plexa speaks reverently. Why, she's the High Archivist. She's one of the most accomplished scholars alive today. Nothing goes on here without her knowing about it. Almost nothing, anyway. She scratches behind her ear. You should probably tread lightly around her today. Anything else? She throws her broad shoulders back. I am a scrivener and a devotee of Whale. It's my duty to look after our records and resources. Her chest swells with pride. This is a temple? Looks like a library. That's because it is. Whale is the god of mysteries and answers, encryption and decryption, concealment and revelation. She raises her hands to the row of shelves. Its guidance comes from the understanding of the unknown and the protection of hidden knowledge. The Hall of Revealed Mysteries was built to celebrate that. To think there's such a place in the Deerwood. Incredible. I'd love a glimpse of the archives. How many secrets must sit upon these shelves? Fascinating. Isn't it? Temples dedicated to Whale tend to hold vast stores of knowledge. We use that knowledge to unravel and preserve the mysteries of the world. What I'm hearing is there's a lot of reading that I could do here if I really wanted to. Midwife's memoir. Well, I guess we can go ahead and trigger some kind of quest in the meantime.
Hello.
An elderly dwarf surveys the stacks. Her skin looks as tough and wrinkled as a walnut. Despite her stature, she manages to look down her nose at you. You're welcome to look around, but let the priests and scriveners continue their search. She shouts the nearest robed figure a withering glare. Wouldn't do to give them any other excuses. What are they looking for? Maybe I could find it. She sizes you up, stroking her chin. And I could trust you to bring it back, I suppose. She scowls at the robed priests again. You certainly couldn't do worse than this lot, anyway. Thieves made off with an ancient scroll of Whale. They intend to blaspheme by selling that which should remain hidden, a secret of the 100 Visions. Her wiry eyebrows arch over her spectacles. The guards caught one of them, but were overzealous in their interrogations. All they could piece together was something about a farmhouse and the road to Deerford. Track the thieves down. I don't care what you do with them, but bring back the scroll. Whale rewards the persistent seeker, and so do I. An ancient scroll of Whale? That's a fine prize. I mean, a worthy task. What else do you need? Tell me what you know about the thieves. Very little, except that they were foolish to believe they could steal from the god of secrets. That, and they were fleeing to a farmhouse. How should I handle the thieves? However you can. Kill them, rob them, leave them. It makes no difference to me. I'll consider it one of Whale's mysteries. What's so special about this scroll? Whale is the god of secrets. If I told you that, I'd cheapen it, wouldn't I? It's a parable. The kind that nourishes the inquisitive mind and poisons the foolish. Tell me about yourself. I am the High Archivist of Hall of Revealed Mysteries. She coughs loudly into her fists, and I am too old and too busy to be bothered with inane questions. Even just one or two? I'd like to know more about Whale. Her smile reveals a row of crooked teeth. That's the rub, isn't it? Whale is the god of things hidden and revealed. The more of the 100 visions one sees, the more one has yet to discover. Though we often call Whale he who sees and is not seen, it is neither male nor female. To assign any definitive characteristics to Whale is to miss another essential part of its divinity. The 100 visions? A term of reverence for Whale's many revelations. Despite the name, they're infinite. Each epiphany leads to yet another enigma. And I thought I was busy. Hmm. The stone scroll. On the path to Deerfoot. Where's Deerfoot? Ah, there. So wouldn't that be Wooden Plains? That's pretty close, actually. Is that worth messing with before we close out the day? Finished in 5 hours. I think that might be worth the effort. Let me think. Is it worth... Abandoned farmhouse. I passed a farmhouse on my way here. Well, fastest way to the world
You
map
must
is
gather
this
your
way,
party
so...
before venturing forth.
Oh, you want to talk? Sagani draws up beside you, her fox following at her heels, and takes a seat next to you.
Even if you are putting one over on me, it's nice to have a hunting party again.
You've been searching for Persock for 5 years?
5 years for me. Must be 30-something for Ichimak.
Hearing its name, the fox looks up. How is the search going?
It's been a long hunt. A long time away from my family. Before, I'd crossed the tundra of Nasitok following caribou herds. I didn't want to leave Kalu and our children, but I was eager to visit lands my people rarely do. But 5 years without finding him. It's like 2 hours of necking. I'm ready to be done with it.
Why do you want to find Persock?
Soul recovery is an old village tradition. We call it the Tarnek Elitsak. Once in a generation, we seek the soul of a much respected and long dead village elder. We tell him what's changed in the village, how people remember him. The only other Tarnek Elitsak during my lifetime happened when I was a girl, not long after Persock died. We feasted on blubber and fermented milk for a week, and we honored the chosen huntress as a hero. Then she left, and we returned to our duties. We still sang her name to the skies during festival season, but we otherwise didn't speak of her.
What happened to her? I don't think she ever returned. It happens that way sometimes. She folds her arm, her expression sober. I'm sure your village still remembers you, Sagani. You're kind to say so, but I'm not so fragile that I need my name chanted in meeting halls.
It's not being forgotten by my village that troubles me. But sometimes I wonder how my husband and children remember me. If they think of me often.
Of course they do. They must. I'd like to believe it, and yet sometimes days go by and I realize that they have not crossed my thoughts. Such days are rare, but they happen. She looks away, tugging at the strap of her quiver. It shames me to think of it, but more than that, it scares me.
Still, there's no point in dwelling on it. More often I find myself wondering whether Persock will remember us. You claim to see souls. What do you think? Do you remember your past lives?
Yes, in fragments. Really? What's it like? It's... I've been learning a lot about myself.
Good things, I hope. Maybe Persock will be the same way. Would make my job of telling him about the village a lot easier.
What would you tell him about your village?
Masuk is probably much the same as it was 100 years ago. We live between tundra and frozen forests, and the land takes as much as it gives. But our hardships bring us together. And the elders truly unite us. They keep the stories of past generations, and they guide us from season to season, through good years and lean.
Ichimak brushes against her hip, and she scratches her head. Recently, there's been a lot of good years. My aunts say we've had fewer clashes with neighboring villages thanks to the hunting territories that Persock helped establish. In bad years, we rely on trade with the merchants that pass our shores. We exchange walrus tucks and seal pelts for grains that last us the hard winters. Persock brokered a lot of those agreements too. She holds up the bear figurine. He got this from one of the Amawa ships that used to trade with us. Sounds like Persok did a lot for your people.
That's what I'm supposed to remind him.
Sounds like you're on a hunt of your own, though. You feeling the thrill of the chase, or ready for this to be over? It's too early to tell. Fair enough. She rises and stretches, looking around. Might as well keep moving while we've got some daylight. I'd like to talk some more. What's on your mind? I want to know about your homeland. Nasitak? She rubs her nose with one broad finger. It's a big island in the middle of the Deadfire Archipelago, just off the coast of the White that Winds. Tundra mostly, with a few snow-covered forests in the warmer parts. Most of us live in fairly small villages, by standards here anyway. Mine is Masuk. What's Nasitak like? Cold, but not as cold as the White that Winds. The few kith who visit Nasitak find it sparse, but there's plenty to sustain a village if you know where to look. She ticks the items off on her calloused fingers. You got hides and meat from caribous, seals, and small whales. Bone too, which makes fine bow and arrowheads. Community's important to us. We strive or perish together, so everything we do, every week-long hunt, every wall we build, is for the village. Who lives there? Mostly Anutanik, like me. People here call us Boreal dwarves. Migratory clans of Glamfathen from the White that Winds sometimes spend the colder seasons on Nasitak, but we don't see too many other foreigners who can tolerate the elements. She pats a weather-bronzed arm. Those of us born in Nasitak like to say we have a hardy layer of sealskin just beneath our flesh. Tell me more about Masuk. We're a tundra village. To an outsider's eyes, we're probably not much different from the others around us, but our elders have stories that go back hundreds of years. Epic hunts, battles with neighboring villages, sojourns across the sea. We share these stories too. That's all. What did you do back in Nasitak? I'm a long hunter. I stalk game across the tundra with some of the other wives. We usually hunt caribou and oxen, but we find hares and birds too. It's a good and respected position. To see so much of Nasitak in the company of my friends and sisters, this is one of the pleasures of life in Masuk. Tell me about Itamak. She scratches behind his ears. A good hunter, but not much of a talker, and that's been fine by me. When we hunt in Nasitak, we almost always bring our foxes with us. They help us track and flush game, and they're fearless defenders against bears and snow leopards. Clever Itamak has always been my favorite. He wags his bushy tail. You have a family back in your village? Of course. We'd never send a woman who hasn't had the chance to find a mate and have a couple of children of her own. Aren't you worried your husband will... Are you kidding? I'm the best shot in Masuk. Good response. Good response. Tell me about your children. I've had 5. Yakona, Estuya, Naju, Anik, and Melak. Estuya and Anik died young in long, lean winters. Melak was barely talking when I left. She scrapes a thumbnail along the handle of her hunting knife. He probably won't know me when I get home. She frowns, her hand falling from the knife. Even in Nasitak, I spent most of my time on the hunt, but then it's easier to relish the hunt when I know I'll see my family enjoying our kill. What's your husband like? Kalu's a good man. He's raised our children well and built us a strong home while I've been away on hunts. Our parents chose us for one another when we were still young. Not the way things are usually done here, but ours chose well. She smiles. We came to appreciate each other as helpmates first, then friends, and then... Well, you know how it goes. There's a hint of a blush below the stripes of face paint. I'm curious about your search for Persok. I'll tell you what I can, but Tarnik is... Ilithsak? Pilgrimages like mine are rare. Why do your people have this tradition? She pulls the bear figurine out of her satchel, running a finger along its smooth back. It's something we've always done. The elders say it was first begun to forge ties with other villages. It's hard to fight over caribou herds when you see someone you respect on the other side. We also believe that passing our history on in this way keeps us stronger, and helps them, the elders I mean, return to us after they've been away for us for a generation or more. They can use the experience they've accumulated over lifetimes to lead the village again. Are elders usually reborn so far from the village? Most often they return somewhere in Nasitak, a member of another village, or they're reborn among the Glamfathen of the White that Winds. Even so, it's hard to say what's usual. A mischievous grin crinkles her eyes. When my grandfather was a boy, the elder came back as a polar bear. The hunters chosen for the task had to recite half of her village deeds while running from the beast. Her expression sobers. Even so, there have been journeys longer than mine. Some last decades, and the huntress doesn't always return. What happens when the elder is found? That depends on the man or woman he's become. It's easiest when the rebirth happens in another village of Nasitak, where the tradition is understood. Even in the White That Wends in the southern isles of the Deadfire Archipelago, people understand this custom and will welcome you politely enough, even if their souls do not remember. But sometimes you'll find someone whose soul has no memory of the village, and you have to tell him of people who remember him still. As disheartening as this is, you hope that the remainder will aid his soul in the future life. How did you get picked to come search for Perzok? She grins. Another old village tradition. The elders watched the caribou migrations and cast seal bones to determine the right time for this journey. When the omens were determined, all of the village wives drew shark teeth. We're the ones that go away to hunt and fish, so we're the best suited for a task like this. Anyway, I grabbed the little tooth. She frowns. Traveling is so far as a rare privilege for us, but as you can see, the journey can be unpredictable. What are your thoughts on the search? She frowns. Helps to know what you're hunting. You've got a lot of tricks to follow, but will they lead is anyone's guess. Now it looks like you want to talk too? I'll let everyone group up, then I'll talk to Adair.
The dozens. Pretty sure you won't find one among them who stood within 100 miles of that bridge when the Godhammer went off. Too bad, too. Assumed there'd be less of them.
Godhammer? That's what they call the bomb they blew up Wadewind with. Don't know much about it other than that. Anything kills a living god, guess you gotta name it. Why do they call themselves the Dozens? It was 12 dear Woodens stood outside Helgard's citadel waiting for Wadewind and to cross that bridge there. They had to hold him there long enough for the Godhammer to detonate, so that's what they did. What do you have against the Dozens? Nothing serious. Nothing I don't have against a lot of folk anyway. The Dozens, they like to take things into their own hands. Gets ugly sometimes. We don't have them in Gilded Vale, but they'd be right at home there. They picked that name so they could do what they wanted and feel like it was right. Got nothing to do with honor or sacrifice. They like to invoke Magrin too, and they especially want to feel right. Somehow I don't think she'd be too impressed with that lot. I'm sure she'd like to set him on fire anytime they use her name, but the gods probably got rules against that kind of thing. People hide behind symbols so they can't be questioned. The Duke's a reasonable man. Maybe while we're in Defiance Bay we can get him to force people to call themselves what they are. Don't imagine they'd have as many members if they called themselves the loudmouth sheepfuckers. Wow. Okay, woo lad. Woo freaking lad. Let's continue on indeed. Holy crap. You silly little fox. So, the wooden plains. So. Well, I guess there's one last thing to do before we close out for the night. Let's go see what this let's go see where this thread leads.
I'll see what I can find.
I'm assuming this is what was mentioned. No other farmhouse to worry about. Oh geez, that's a lot of them! Ice! You know what this calls for fireball! I can't honestly tell how much damage that did. I hope it was a lot. What's this? Oh, Hunter's Mark, basically. So why are you getting up in their face? Ooh, a grimoire. I'm gonna have fun going through my inventory today. As you take the scroll, you hear a voice. You have found it. Now lose it again. What? You think this theft was an accident? The voice seems to shift, as if the speaker were constantly changing age, race, and sex. My relics were never meant to stay in one place for long. They are meant to be lost and found. It is the search that gives a thing value. Take it to the Black Meadow. Find the drake that faces east and bury it neath its skull.
Sure.
Well, now I don't even know how to respond to this. Hide it in the Black Meadow. Where is that? Why would I do that, though? Huh. I mean, am I really
Sure.
going to refuse a request from a god? You know what? I'm gonna have to think on this. I'm gonna let this be the point where we end. So am I making a new main for everything? Yes, I am. I'm gonna let this be the ending point, because I honestly don't know how I want to respond to this. I mean, it's not like I can just refuse a request from a god, right, if I'm gonna get that much of a warning from it. Although, here's the next question. Can I actually read the damn thing? I can read it. Okay, we'll end by reading it then. This ancient scroll is bound with silver thread. The broken wax seal is stamped with the shape of an eye. The scroll at first appears to be gibberish, a collection of symbols and characters with no apparent connection between them. As you study them, however, you can swear that the characters begin to move. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, they shift and crisscross and realign, and you are able to read the text. A simpleton seeks out a wise man said to know the answer to everything. Please, said the simpleton. You have to help me. The world terrifies me. I wake each morning and I don't know why. I make choices each day and I don't know what will happen as a result. I go to sleep each night and I don't know whether it will be my last. When the simpleton finishes, he notices that the wise man is weeping. The simpleton apologizes profusely and asks the wise man what he has said to upset him. The wise man shakes his head and wipes the tears from his eyes. He answers, "Some people have all the luck." That is a fascinating exchange. That is... Okay, that is very fascinating. I have no idea what to make of that. Yeah, I'm gonna end on that note, because I have no idea what to make of anything that I just read. And I've got a metric ton of stuff that I'm gonna have to sort through, given everything that's been going on. Why is Alot's Grimoire in here? Here's the new Grimoire. There we go. That's why I was confused. That's why I was confused. Now everything's starting to make a little more sense. But good lord, I've got a lot of inventory to get through. The fact that the game is stuttering, good lord. To be fair, I have been overworking my PC to try and compress some footage, but still. Although, here's another thing I'm curious about. What's this guy look like? Oh, it's adorable. Either way, I guess we'll call it there. So, let's go ahead and save over that main. Alrighty, this was interesting. A little more looking through a bunch of side stuff than I may have wanted, but did make progress getting through whatever lies below. Did make progress. I did find a new party member and a bunch more threads to explore. So with any luck, the threads will continue to be interesting. For now, though, thank you all for watching. I hope this was entertaining, and I don't know. Well, let's say I might be able to do this on Wednesdays and Sundays, and Saturdays, depending on the timing. But I mean, I'd like to try and do it Wednesday and Saturday to make more progress. But the problem I'm running into is that sometimes, over the next few months, I'm gonna have Wednesdays be busy, and that's before you mention Holy Crap Thunder. It's been a dark and stormy night, unironically. So sometimes I'll have to stress out over a video. So sometimes it'll take a little longer than I anticipate. Or sometimes I'll just need to spend all day working on that instead of spending half the day streaming. So either way, we'll see how it turns out. For now though, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later.